Welcome to Calm Mind English. Some days you are not doing nothing. You are trying. You wake up, handle your responsibilities, answer messages, finish small tasks, and move through the day like someone who is making an effort. But when the evening comes, something still feels heavy. You look back at the day, and it is hard to explain what changed. You were busy, but your life does not feel like it moved. This can be one of the most frustrating feelings. It is easier to understand tiredness when you have done something clear. If you cleaned the whole house, finished a project, helped someone move, or worked a long shift, your body knows why it feels tired. But this kind of tiredness is different. You may have answered emails, checked bills, made plans, cleaned one corner, watched a video about improving your life, and thought about the future many times. Still, at the end of the day, you feel almost in the same place. That is when the mind starts asking quiet questions. Why am I still here? Why does nothing seem to change? Why do I keep trying but still feel stuck? The answer is not always that you're lazy. It is not always that you lack discipline. Many people who feel stuck are actually using a lot of energy. The problem is that the energy is spread everywhere. Imagine pouring water on a dry ground. If you pour a little water in 10 different places, the ground becomes slightly damp, but nothing grows deeply. If you pour water into one place again and again, something has a chance to take root. The same thing can happen with effort. You may be trying to improve your health, your money, your home, your work, your English, your habits, your relationships, and your confidence all at the same time. Each area matters. Each area asks for attention. But when every part of life feels urgent, your mind has no clear place to land. So you move from one concern to another. In the morning, you think about your body. You tell yourself you should eat better or move more. Then your phone shows a message, and your attention shifts to work. At lunch, you think about money. In the afternoon, you remember a task at home. At night, you watch something about self-improvement and feel a short spark of hope. None of these thoughts are wrong. The problem is that they do not become one clear direction. A person can spend a whole day responding to life instead of leading it. They can look active from the outside and still feel powerless inside. This is because activity and progress are not the same thing. Activity fills time. Progress builds a direction. When you feel stuck, even though you are trying, it may mean your life is full of activity, but not enough direction. You are moving, but the movement is scattered. You're making effort, but the effort does not know where to gather. Think about a desk covered with small papers. One note says to call someone. Another says to pay something. Another says to start exercising. Another says to study. Another says to clean. Nothing on the desk is meaningless. But when everything is lying everywhere, the whole space feels heavier than the tasks themselves. The mind works in a similar way. When too many unfinished thoughts stay open, your mind feels busy even during rest. You sit on a couch, but part of you is still carrying the desk. You eat dinner, but part of you is still thinking about tomorrow. You lie in bed, but part of you is still trying to organize a life that feels too wide to hold. This is why effort can feel invisible. You're spending energy managing mental noise. You're trying to remember what matters. You're trying to not fall behind. You're trying to fix things in your head before you even begin fixing them in real life. And because this effort happens quietly, you may not respect how much it costs. You may tell yourself, I did not do enough today. But maybe you made 20 small decisions, solved 3 small problems, handled one emotional moment, and carried the pressure of things you have not yet started. That is still effort. The problem is that this kind of effort often does not create visible change. It keeps life from falling apart, but it may not move life forward. It maintains the day. It does not always build the next one. This is a hard place to be, Because maintenance is necessary. You cannot ignore daily life. You still need to cook, clean, answer, drive, work, care, pay, and show up. But if every bit of your energy goes into maintenance, the future keeps waiting. You may feel like you are standing in a hallway, holding many bags. You are not lying down. You are not giving up. You are standing, carrying, adjusting, and surviving. But you're not walking through the door. The stuck feeling often begins there. Not because you have no desire, not because you have no ability, but because your energy is being used to hold too many things at once. A person may say, I just need to try harder. But trying harder in 10 directions can create more exhaustion. It can make the mind feel even more crowded. It can make progress feel farther away. What helps first is not more pressure. What helps first is seeing the pattern clearly. You may be trying, but your effort may be divided. You may be sincere, but your attention may be pulled apart. You may be working hard, but your actions may not be connected long enough to become progress. This does not mean your effort has been wasted. It means your effort needs a place to gather. A stuck life is not always an empty life. Sometimes it is a crowded life, crowded with small duties, open loops, old expectations, quiet worries, and new goals that never get enough space to grow. When you understand this, you can stop blaming yourself for not moving faster. You can begin asking a better question. Where is my effort going? This question is simple, but it changes the way you see the day. Instead of asking, why am I not better yet? You can look at your actual energy. You can notice what takes your focus in the morning. You can notice what interrupts you. You can notice which tasks repeat every day without ever becoming lighter. You can also notice which goal keeps returning in your mind. Maybe you keep thinking about getting stronger. Maybe you keep thinking about changing jobs. Maybe you keep thinking about studying. Maybe you keep thinking about creating a calmer home. Maybe you keep thinking about becoming more consistent. The repeated thought matters. It may be showing you where your effort wants to gather. But for that to happen, you need to stop treating every pressure as equal. Some things are urgent for today. Some things are important for your life. When those two are mixed together all day, your mind cannot tell the difference. So the first step is not to change everything. The first step is to see the difference between being busy and building direction. Busy says, I touched many things today. Direction says, I returned to one thing that matters. Busy says, I reacted to what appeared. Direction says, I chose where my next small piece of energy would go. Busy says, I am tired because life is full. Direction says, I am tired, but I know what I am building. This does not make life easy, but it makes effort feel less empty. If your life feels stuck even when you are trying, be honest about how much of your day is spent scattering your attention. Notice how often you move toward whatever feels loudest. Notice how often the important thing waits quietly while small demands take the front seat. This awareness is not meant to shame you. It is meant to give you back control. Because when you can see where your energy leaks, you can begin to protect one small part of it. You do not need to protect the whole day at once. You only need one small space where your effort can become focused. That space may be 10 minutes. It may be one page. It may be one walk. It may be one clean surface. It may be one application, one lesson, one honest conversation, or one small decision that has been waiting too long. The size is not the most important part. The direction is. A life begins to move again when effort stops floating and starts returning. Returning to one chosen place. Returning often enough that the place begins to change. Returning even when the change is still quiet. Today, your life may not look different yet, but if you can understand where your effort is going, you are already closer to movement than you were before. You're not simply stuck. You may be scattered, and something scattered can be gathered again. Sometimes the problem is not that you do not care enough. The problem is that you care about many things, but you have not chosen what they are all moving toward. This can create a strange kind of pressure. You sit at a desk with a notebook open. You want to make a plan. You want to be serious about your life. You write a few ideas, cross something out, check your phone, then write another idea. After a while, the page has words on it, but your mind still feels unclear. You may write, exercise more, save money, study English, sleep earlier, find better work, clean the house, be more patient, use the phone less. Each one sounds reasonable. Each one could improve your life. But together, they can feel like a wall. When direction is unclear, even good goals can become heavy. They do not guide you. They accuse you. They sit in your mind as proof that there is always something else you should be doing. This is how honest effort turns into emotional friction. You try to take action, but every action seems connected to another unfinished action. If you study, you think you should also be exercising. If you exercise, you think about money. If you work on money, you think about the messy room. If you clean the room, you think about the future. So no action feels complete. Your body may be doing one task, but your mind is comparing it with 5 others. This makes even a useful action feel strangely unsatisfying. You finish something small, but instead of relief, you feel the weight of everything else. This is one reason people feel stuck while trying. They're not only doing tasks, they're carrying the judgment of all the tasks they are not doing. Imagine walking with a backpack. 1 book is not too heavy. 2 books are manageable. But if you keep adding books without deciding which ones you actually need today, the walk becomes slow. You may still be moving, but every step feels harder than it should. Unclear direction is like that. It adds invisible weight to normal actions. A clear direction does not mean your whole life is perfectly planned. It does not mean you know exactly what will happen in 5 years. Most people do not know that. Life changes. Jobs change. Family needs change. Energy changes. Clear direction is more practical than that. It means you know what kind of movement matters most right now. For one season, your direction may be stability. That means your choices are judged by whether they make life more steady. You may focus on money, documents, health, and routines. You may not chase every exciting idea, because stability is the work of this season. For another season, your direction may be growth. That means your choices are judged by whether they build skill, courage, or opportunity. You may study, practice, apply, or create, even when the results are not immediate. For another season, your direction may be recovery. That means your choices are judged by whether they reduce pressure and rebuild your energy. You may simplify, rest, repair sleep, and stop adding unnecessary commitments. Without this kind of direction, every good idea competes with every other good idea. This competition creates friction. You wake up and think, I should improve my life. But improvement is too large to act on. The mind needs something smaller and clearer. It needs to know what kind of improvement matters today. Otherwise, you may keep preparing without beginning. Preparation can feel safe. Planning can feel productive. Watching advice can feel like movement. Thinking deeply about your life can feel meaningful. And sometimes it is meaningful. But there's a point where thinking becomes a place to hide from choosing. Choosing is uncomfortable because it means leaving other options for later. It means saying, this is the direction for now. It means accepting that you cannot fix every part of life at once. Many people avoid this without realizing it. They keep all goals open because closing some of them feels like failure. They want to become healthier, calmer, richer, more skilled, more organized, more confident, and more disciplined at the same time. They do not want to abandon any part of themselves. But choosing one main direction is not abandoning the rest. It is giving one part enough attention to actually change. When a camera focuses on one subject, the whole picture becomes clearer. It does not mean the rest of the world disappears. It means the eye finally knows where to look. Your life also needs focus. If everything is equally important, your nervous system treats everything as pressure. A small message feels connected to your future. A messy kitchen feels connected to your identity. One tired morning feels like proof that you will never change. This is too much meaning for one ordinary day to carry. A clear direction lowers the emotional weight of daily life. It helps you decide what deserves your best energy and what can simply be handled. Not everything needs deep thought. Not everything needs a new plan. Some things just need to be done simply and released. For example, if your main direction is to build a better work future, then studying for 30 minutes may matter more than reorganizing the whole closet. The closet may still matter, but it is not the center. You can clean enough to function, then return to the skill that moves your life. If your main direction is health, then preparing a simple meal. And sleeping earlier may matter more than reading another article about productivity. The article may be useful, but it is not the center. Your body is. If your main direction is recovery, then saying no to one extra demand may matter more than proving how strong you are. Strength in that season may look quiet. It may look like leaving space. The right direction depends on your real life, not someone else's life. This is important because many people borrow goals from the world around them. They see what others are building, buying, changing, or showing. Then they feel behind, even if those goals do not match their current season. A borrowed goal can create movement, but it rarely creates peace. You may chase it for a while, but something inside stays unconvinced. You take steps, but they do not feel connected to your real needs. This also creates the stuck feeling. You are moving, but not towards something that belongs to you. So before you ask how to try harder, ask what your effort is serving. Is it serving stability? Is it serving growth? Is it serving recovery? Is it serving skill? Is it serving family? Is it serving health? Is it serving a life that is quieter, stronger, and more honest? You do not need a perfect answer. You need a useful answer. A useful answer gives today a shape. It helps you know what to do when your mind starts listing everything. It helps you say, this matters, but not right now. It helps you protect your energy from being pulled into every open problem. There's a calm power in knowing what season you are in. A person in a building season should not judge themselves by the speed of someone in a harvesting season. A person in a recovery season should not judge themselves by the output of someone with more rest, more support, or fewer hidden pressures. Your season gives context to your effort. When the season is unclear, you may misread your own life. You may think you are failing when you're actually overloaded. You may think you are lazy when you're actually undecided. You may think nothing is working when the real issue is that too many things are being started and not enough things are being repeated. Progress needs repetition. Repetition needs direction. Direction needs a choice. That choice can be simple. For the next few weeks, I'm building stability. For the next few weeks, I'm improving my body. For the next few weeks, I am practicing one skill. For the next few weeks, I am reducing chaos at home. For the next few weeks, I am protecting sleep. A direction like this does not solve everything, but it reduces the noise. It gives your day a filter. When a new idea appears, you can ask, does this support the direction I chose for now? If yes, give it time. If no, write it down and let it wait. You are not rejecting it forever. You are refusing to let every idea interrupt your life. This is how movement becomes possible again, not through a dramatic decision, but through a quieter one. You choose the direction of the season. You let that direction organize your energy. You stop measuring your day by how many problems you touched and begin measuring it by whether you return to what matters. The page in a notebook does not need to hold your entire life. It only needs to hold the next true direction. Once that is clear, effort becomes less confusing. The same small action begins to feel different. It is no longer just a task. It is a vote for where your life is going. And when effort has somewhere to go, the stuck feeling begins to loosen. A repeated day can be stronger than a strong intention. This is why life can stay the same even after you decide to change. You may wake up with a real desire to do things differently. You may tell yourself that today will be the day you move with more focus, more discipline, and more care. But the morning has its own memory. The phone is in the same place. The room has the same shape. The first task feels the same. The same tiredness appears in the body before your new plan has a chance to speak. So the day begins the old way. You check one thing, then another. You move slowly through the same small habits. You tell yourself you will begin soon, but the old rhythm has already taken the first hour. This is not because your intention was fake. It is because routines do not wait for motivation. They run quietly as soon as the day begins. A habit is not only an action, it is a path your body already knows. When you walk the same path many times, the ground becomes easier to follow. You do not need to think much. Your feet understand where to go. The same thing happens inside daily life. Your body learns where to sit, what to reach for, when to delay, when to avoid, and how to spend energy. This is useful when the routine supports you. It is costly when the routine keeps returning you to the same place. Many people try to change their life by adding a new intention on top of an old routine. They say, I will study after work. I will exercise in the morning. I will stop using my phone at night. I will keep the house cleaner. I will be more focused. The intention is clear for a moment, but the old routine is already built into the day. After work, the body goes to the couch before the mind can argue. In the morning, the hand reaches for the phone before the plan is remembered. At night, the screen becomes the easiest way to escape the pressure of the day. The old routine does not need to be strong in a dramatic way. It only needs to be familiar. Familiar things feel easy because they require less decision. And when you are tired, your brain often chooses what requires the least decision. This is why change often fails in ordinary moments, not in big moments. You may imagine change as a powerful scene, a new morning, a clean desk, a serious decision, a version of yourself who finally feels ready. But real change usually meets you in a very plain moment. You're standing near the bed. You're holding your phone. You're sitting in the car. You're opening the fridge. You're looking at the same corner of the room. Nothing feels special. No music is playing. No one is watching. That is where the old routine tries to continue. If you do not understand this, you may blame your character. You may think, I always fail. I never follow through. I cannot trust myself. But maybe the problem is not your character. Maybe the problem is that your current routine is stronger than your current plan. A plan written in the mind has to compete with a pattern written into the body. This is why small, repeated actions matter more than emotional promises. A promise can create a spark. A routine creates a track. If the track is unchanged, the spark burns out quickly. Think of a person who wants to study English every evening. They come home tired. Their bag goes on the floor. Their phone goes on the table. Dinner happens. Then the couch. Then a video. Then another video. By the time they remember the plan, the body is already heavy. The person may say, I should have more discipline. But look closely at the routine. There was no clear place where studying could begin. The book was not open. The desk was not ready. The phone was too close. The evening had no bridge from work to study. The plan depended on energy appearing at the end of a tiring day. That is a weak design. A better approach is not to demand a new personality. It is to build a small entrance into the new routine. The book stays open before leaving for work. The chair is cleared. The phone charges in another room for 20 minutes. The first task is not study for 1 hour. The first task is sit down and read one short paragraph. This may look too small, but it changes the track. The body begins to learn a new path. Come home. Put the bag down. Drink water. Sit at the desk for 10 minutes. Open the page. Begin. At first, the result may feel small, but the purpose is not only the result. The purpose is to teach the day a new direction. A stuck life often has repeated patterns that are invisible because they feel normal. You may not notice how often your phone starts your morning. You may not notice how often your tired body chooses the same chair after work. You may not notice how often one messy surface makes every task feel harder. These details matter because routines are built from details. A person does not usually lose a whole day at once. The day is shaped by small, automatic turns. One turn toward the phone, one turn away from the task, one turn toward delay, one turn toward comfort, one turn toward the same familiar evening. By the end, the day looks almost like yesterday. Then the mind says, nothing changed again. But the truth is, the routine worked perfectly. It carried you to the same place because that is what it was designed to do. This can sound uncomfortable, but is also hopeful. If a routine can carry you backward, a routine can also carry you forward. The same automatic power that keeps you stuck can become the power that moves you. You do not need every action to feel inspiring. In fact, it is better when some helpful actions become ordinary. Brushing your teeth does not require a motivational speech. Locking the door does not require a deep life purpose. You do it because it belongs to the rhythm of the day. A useful habit becomes powerful when it stops feeling like a big decision. That is why the goal is not to feel motivated every time. The goal is to make the right action easier to enter. If the exercise clothes are buried in a drawer, the routine has friction. If they are ready beside the bed, the entrance is easier. If the notebook is closed under other papers, the routine has friction. If it is open on the desk, the entrance is easier. If the phone is beside your pillow, the old routine has an easy entrance. If it is across the room, the old routine has more friction. Change often begins by adjusting entrances. You're not trying to force your whole life forward with willpower. You're trying to make the first step visible, close, and simple. This matters because the first step is where many people lose the day. Once they begin, they often continue for a little while. The hardest part is crossing from the old track into the new one. So make the crossing smaller. Do not ask your tired evening self to become a completely different person. Ask that person to do the first 2 minutes. Open the page. Wash one dish. Put on the shoes. Lay out tomorrow's clothes. Write the first sentence. Clear the table enough to begin. The old routine may still be there. It may still pull, but each small repetition weakens the idea that the old way is the only way. At first, your life may not feel transformed. It may just feel slightly interrupted. That interruption is important. You are interrupting the automatic return to the same place. You are creating a small break in the old pattern. You're teaching your body that after this moment, something different can happen. This is how new routines are born, not from one perfect day, but from many small returns to the same helpful action. A person who feels stuck often searches for a large explanation. They wonder if they need more confidence, more passion, more time, or a completely new life. Sometimes bigger changes are needed, but often the first layer is more ordinary. The day has a pattern, and the pattern is repeating. If you want your life to move, look at the pattern before you judge yourself. Where does the day begin to drift? Where does your energy disappear? What object, room, time, or feeling usually leads you back to the old routine? What is the smallest entrance into the new one? These questions are practical. They bring change down from an idea into the shape of the day. Because your future is not only built by big dreams, it is built by what your ordinary Tuesday allows you to repeat. If your ordinary day keeps making the old action easier, the old life will continue. If your ordinary day makes one better action easier, the direction begins to change. Slowly, the body learns. The morning can learn a new beginning. The evening can learn a new first step. The room can learn a new purpose. The phone can lose some of its control. The desk can become a place where progress begins again. This is not dramatic, but it is real. A life that feels stuck may not need a louder promise. It may need a smaller doorway into a better routine. Find that doorway. Make it easy to enter. Then return to it tomorrow. There is a quiet reason your effort may not become movement. It is not only inside your mind. It is also around you. Your room, your desk, your phone, your chair, your open tabs, and the small objects near your hand all speak to your nervous system. They tell you what is easy to begin. They tell you what is normal to repeat. This is why a person can promise to change at night, then wake up and fall back into the same pattern before they even notice it. The promise was real. The desire was honest. But the space around them still belongs to the old routine. Imagine someone coming home after work. They are tired, but not completely empty. There is still a small amount of energy left. They could prepare something simple, clean one area, study for 20 minutes, or organize tomorrow. But the couch is ready. The phone is nearby. The remote is easy to reach. The table is covered with small, unfinished things, so there is no clear place to begin. Nothing dramatic happens. They sit down for a moment. They check one thing, then another. The day starts to disappear, not because they chose to waste it, but because the room made the easiest path too easy. When your environment has no clear starting point, your mind has to create one. That sounds simple, but it costs energy. You have to decide where to sit, what to move, what to open, what to ignore, and what to do first. A tired mind does not enjoy this kind of decision, so it often chooses the object that asks the least from you. Usually that object is a phone, a screen, a snack, or a place to lie down. This does not mean those things are bad. Rest is not the enemy. Comfort is not wrong. The problem begins when every object around you is designed for escape, and nothing around you is designed for return. Return means coming back to the life you're trying to build. Return means having one visible book, one clear notebook, one clean corner, one prepared bottle of water, one pair of shoes by the door, or one simple task placed where your eyes can see it. You do not need a perfect room to change your life. A perfect room can even become another excuse. You only need one part of your space to support the next honest action. For example, if you want to walk in the morning, do not keep the decision inside your head. Put your clothes where you can see them. Place your shoes near the door. Make the first step physical before the morning arrives. If you want to study English after dinner, do not wait until you feel inspired. Leave the book open. Put a pen beside it. Keep the chair clear. Make the space say, "This is where I begin." If you want to stop losing every evening to your phone, do not only tell yourself to use it less. Put the charger away from the couch. Leave your phone in another room for the first 30 minutes after work. Create a small distance between the impulse and the action. A small distance can change a whole evening. Not because your willpower suddenly becomes stronger, but because the old path becomes less automatic. Many people try to improve their life by speaking only to their mind. They say, "I need more discipline. I need more focus. I need to try harder." But sometimes the more honest sentence is simpler. My space is making the wrong thing easy. When the wrong thing is always easy, you do not need a weak character to repeat it. You only need a tired body at the end of a normal day. This is why changing your environment can feel strangely powerful. It does not argue with your thoughts. It does not depend on motivation. It simply changes what your body reaches for first. A clean desk does not make you successful, but a desk with one clear task can reduce the friction of starting. A phone in another room does not solve your whole life, but it can protect the first quiet minutes when your mind is still able to choose. Progress often begins before the action itself. It begins when you remove one obstacle from the path. It begins when you make the better choice slightly more visible, slightly closer, and slightly easier. Think about a person who wants to read more. They keep saying they should read at night, but every night they lie down with their phone. The book is on a shelf across the room. The phone is in their hand. In that situation, the habit is almost already decided. The body does not move toward the better intention. It moves toward the nearest reward. Now, change only one thing. The book is placed on the pillow in the morning. At night, they cannot lie down without touching it. They do not have to read for an hour. They only have to read one page before moving it. This is not a dramatic system. It is almost too simple to respect. But simple changes are often the ones we actually use. The same idea works with unfinished tasks. When everything is mixed together, your mind sees a wall. Laundry, bills, dishes, messages, papers, and plans all become one heavy shape. You feel behind before you even begin. So the answer is not always to work harder. Sometimes the answer is to separate the wall into one visible brick. Put one bill on the table. Put one basket near the washing machine. Put one note on the desk that says exactly what to do next. Not a life plan, just the next movement. The environment should not ask you to become a different person all at once. It should quietly help the person you are today take one better step. This matters because feeling stuck often comes from repeated friction. Every day, the same small resistance appears. The same mess, the same phone, the same unclear desk, the same tired body, the same late-night promise. Over time, you may start to believe nothing is changing because something is wrong with you. But the pattern may be simpler than that. You keep entering the same space, and the same space keeps guiding you into the same behavior. To move differently, you may need to arrange the path differently. Not perfectly, just honestly. Choose one area of your life that feels stuck. Do not redesign everything. Look at the physical path around that one behavior. Where does the behavior begin? What object pulls you away? What object could pull you back? What can be placed, removed, prepared, or made easier? If the phone is the first problem, move it. If the desk is the first problem, clear only the center. If the morning is the first problem, prepare the first object the night before. Your environment is not just decoration. It is a quiet instruction system. Every day, it teaches your body what to repeat. When you understand this, change becomes less mysterious. You stop waiting for a perfect mood. You stop blaming yourself for every repeated pattern. You begin to build a space where the next right action is easier to touch. And sometimes that is where movement begins. A small space changes first, then a small action follows. Then the day starts to feel a little less trapped inside yesterday. There's a quiet moment when change becomes less confusing. It is the moment you stop asking, "Why am I still here?" and begin asking, "What direction am I repeating every day?" This question is smaller, but it is also more useful. It brings the problem down from the clouds and places it back into your hands. When life feels stuck, many people think they need a stronger version of themselves. They imagine a future day when they will wake up with more energy, more confidence, more discipline, and more certainty. Then they will finally move. But most progress does not begin with a new personality. It begins with a clearer direction. A person could try very hard and still feel lost if their actions are not pointing toward the same place. They may exercise one week, study the next week, clean everything one weekend, make a plan on Monday, lose the plan by Thursday, and start again on Sunday night. Each action is useful by itself, but together they do not create a road. This is why intensity can feel powerful for a moment, but repetition changes the shape of a life. Imagine someone who wants to feel more in control of their days. They do not need to fix every part of life at once. They choose one direction. I want my mornings to feel less chaotic. That is all. Then they make one small action repeatable. Before sleeping, they place their clothes on a chair. They put a glass of water near the kitchen sink. They leave their notebook open on the table with one sentence written at the top. Start here. The next morning is not perfect. They still feel tired. Their phone still looks tempting. Their mind still tries to drift. But the first step is easier to see. This matters. A clear first step reduces the amount of energy needed to begin. When beginning becomes easier, repeating becomes more realistic. When repeating becomes realistic, progress becomes visible, not immediately in a dramatic way. At first, the change may look almost too small to respect. One cleaner desk, one finished email, one 10-minute walk, one page read, one bill paid before it becomes stressful, one evening where the phone is placed across the room instead of beside the pillow. These things may not look like transformation, but they are evidence. They show your mind that your life is not completely frozen. They show your body that action can happen without a perfect mood. They show your day that a new pattern can enter without destroying everything else. This is where many people misunderstand progress. They wait for progress to feel inspiring. But real progress often feels ordinary while it's happening. It feels like doing the small thing again. It feels like returning to the same simple promise after a messy day. It feels like choosing the next useful action, even when the bigger life picture still feels unclear. The goal is not to force yourself into a completely different life overnight. That usually creates pressure, and pressure often makes the mind retreat. A better path is to choose one direction and let repetition make it believable. If your life feels stuck even while you are trying, do not immediately assume your effort is worthless. Look at where your effort is going. Look at whether your actions are connected. Look at whether your environment supports the direction you say you want. Then make the next step smaller than your pride wants it to be. Small enough that you can do it on a tired day. Small enough that you can repeat it after a mistake. Small enough that it does not require a speech from your future self. This kind of action may feel too simple, but simple is often what survives real life. A complicated plan can disappear when the day becomes stressful. A heavy promise can collapse when your energy is low. But one clear action, prepared in the right place, repeated at the right time, can remain. And when something remains, it starts to build trust. Trust is important because feeling stuck often damages the way you see yourself. After enough unfinished plans, you may stop believing your own decisions. You may hear yourself say, "I will start tomorrow," and feel doubt before the sentence is even finished. This doubt does not disappear through big promises. It disappears through small proof. Every time you complete one chosen action, you leave a small mark of proof. You do not need to announce it. You do not need to turn it into a new identity. You simply let the evidence collect. A week of small proof can change the feeling of a room. A month of small proof can change the feeling of a routine. A year of small proof can change the direction of a life. The change may still be quiet. Other people may not notice at first. There may be no sudden applause, no dramatic moment, no perfect version of you standing at the finish line. But you may notice something smaller and more honest. You begin to trust the next step. You begin to see that movement does not always feel exciting. Sometimes it feels calm. Sometimes it feels plain. Sometimes it feels like closing one tab, washing one cup, opening one document, or walking outside for 10 minutes. A stuck life does not always need a loud rescue. Sometimes it needs one direction that is repeated gently enough to become real. So tonight, choose one thing. Not your whole future. Not your entire personality. Not every habit you wish you had. Choose one small action that points in the direction you want to go. Place it where you can see it. Make it easy to begin. Let it be simple enough to repeat tomorrow. A life does not move all at once. It moves when one honest action becomes familiar. And from that familiar action, a new road slowly begins to appear.